Welcome to Detroit. My name is Francesca Berardi. I'm Italian from Turin, and I moved to the United States 3 years ago. I moved to New York, where I'm working as a journalist. I came to Detroit for the first time a year ago, and now this is the 4th time. And here we are, near the center of the city.
I've been working on this project for a while now, a few years, longer than I thought of it as a project. I've been very involved in the Italian community for many years. For 5 years I was the cultural chairman of the Dante Alighieri Society, Michigan chapter. My role there was to develop cultural events with the committee for the community, and that often involved inviting artists from Italy. So as a photographer, I would photograph them. Little did I realize that this would become an actual theme that would become more present in my life.
The exhibition Art Within Art from Italy to Detroit and vice versa portrays a model for Detur. Here we have an art curator from Turin proposing the idea to a photographer in Detroit. He realizes it, brings it back to Turin, and then repeats it in Detroit for the 90th anniversary of the Dante Alighieri Society in the fall. Moreover, the brilliance of the Italian masters was brought to Detroit throughout the centuries via immigration, travels by the artists, their family upbringing, and now it's being brought back to Turin.
I hope to publish a book that could fire up the interest in the city, and a book that could be a tool for people to discover the city, to learn more about the city, and to understand the soul of the city.
First of all, I think the future of the city of Detroit is very bright. It's gone through a lot of difficulties, and I've gone through those difficulties with it. So we've had hard times and economies that were, very depressed. But I think we're at a crossroads.
I don't think that it's really expressed well enough how many opportunities are available here, especially for young artists like myself. I've had so many gallery opportunities, so many connections that I've made here, and it's just because of the way that the city is growing.
There are thousands of young people, young professionals, that are crowding into the city because they see there's so many opportunities here. Real estate is accessible, so they can get a loft, they can get an apartment, they can rent or buy a building and pursue their dreams here.
It's a place where there's still space for imagination, and it's a city that, in my opinion, embodies the spirit of the United States. The idea that everything is up to you, and that you can reach the top and you can touch the bottom very rapidly. And Detroit somehow experienced the failure of the second industrial revolution, but it is now reinventing itself, and its motto is now building community.
The idea of creating a cultural bridge between my two homelands of Turin and Detroit came about when I was visiting my family in Turin several years ago. It seemed that the two cities already had so much in common: the cinema, sports, art, and of course being the automobile capitals of their respective countries. And now it makes even more sense since the two economies are intertwined by the Chrysler-Fiat merger.
The major immigration began in the late 19th century when people from the north, Piedmont, Liguria, and Lombardy, were coming in large numbers. By the end of the 19th century, people from the south began to predominate. Detroit, because of its role in the auto industry, was high paying, so a lot of people came. Even though most of the people who emigrated, particularly to Detroit, were poor, uneducated Southerners and Northerners from Italy, they managed somehow to convey to their children a sense of appreciation for beauty.
I grew up in an area of northern Italy. The region is known as Friuli, Venezia Giulia. My whole family, after a few years in America, returned to Italy, and I remained here. And I'm involved very much in the art community. I've been fortunate to create public works for the city of Detroit and the State Library in Lansing. So I've been able to make a living as a working artist, which is not very easy to do. But part of the Italian tradition of creative individuals have been used in this town for many years. Many great artists have come over here to Detroit to actually produce artworks that are still here. So I guess I'm part of a long chain of immigrants who have actually helped in beautify the city.
My father was the son of immigrants from Torino, and he was born not long after they arrived. And they arrived here, they must have had good reason to come because they left this beautiful alpine area of Torino to come to Illinois to mine coal. And my dad wanted to get out of there, so he came to Detroit because he could find work in Detroit. Italian art has influenced me from day one. When I was a very small child, my mother showed me a book one night. She had all these art books. She was the artist in the family. She showed me a picture and she said, do you want to see what God looks like? And I was like maybe 7, and I said, well, yeah, I've kind of always wondered, what does God look like? So she shows me a picture of Michelangelo's Sistine ceiling, and there's God. So now I knew what God looked like. But also I was seeing like this great Italian painting, and the house was full of it, and I saw it all the time. And you cannot really be a painter of any kind without having Italian influence, directly or indirectly.
In my travels as a young man in college, I had a summer abroad and traveled. In those days, you could travel in Europe on $5 a day, and I think I managed to do that, going through all of the major European capitals and spending a good amount of time in Rome and elsewhere in Italy. I was doing a research paper on Italian Baroque painting at the time, and later I went on to graduate school, first in Chicago and later at the Institute of Fine Arts at New York University, where I studied with some of the leading professors and curators of Italian medieval, Renaissance, and Baroque painting and sculpture and architecture.
I studied abroad in 1979 with 2 groups combined, a husband and wife that were instructors from Wayne State University in Detroit and College for Creative Studies in Detroit. Took a group to Italy for the whole summer. And It was a life-changing experience for me.
This is my studio. The images that you see are probably influenced by Italian art in some way, especially some of the great artists of the 60s, who I find very exciting, and I think I have drawn from them in terms of their heritage, and my own heritage as an Italian.
My dad is from Calabria in the south of Italy, and my mom is from Lucca in the Tuscany area of Italy. Right now I'm painting a big portrait of the Pope, which Pope Francis, which is not typical of my style of work, but I like the Pope a lot, and I'm venturing out into doing portraits. Usually my work is abstract.
Why is this project important? Well, my son Nicholas is 23, and I tell him, you know, the things that you see and the people you care about and the places that mean something to you, we always had that sense they're always going to be there. Well, they're not. One profound influence on me was when the author and historian archaeologist Valerio Massimo Manfredi came to Detroit, and Pierrette and I took him on a tour of the city. Through many conversations, he was talking about the importance of history, the importance of the collective memory of mankind, and that without that collective memory, whether it's a man, a nation, or a state, it becomes unstable. That really stayed with me for a long time, and although I always enjoyed making environmental photographs, all of a sudden, after talking to Valerio, I took it a step deeper. I was helping make a historical document of this person. I was documenting their life. And it just enhanced the whole feeling in me.
You know, I certainly am proud that we have a great opera house and opera company in our city. Surely I'd enjoy the opportunity to compose and to share that with those who, may hear it. I think one of the things I'm very proud of is that in opening the Opera House here in '96, that it's become a significant catalyst for what is around us.
I've been playing the accordion and various types of bellowed instruments all my life, and I'm very grateful to have absorbed the Detroit culture, very multi-ethnic American culture, global culture. Only in Detroit could you have that. I'm just very fortunate to be in music, see the world through melody and harmony.
Transcending is a monument to labor. I was very fortunate with another artist, friend of mine. We collaborated in the design, and we won the competition, and we're very, very fortunate. I spent 5 years creating the relief sculptures, the bronze sculptures at the bottom, which represent different aspects of the labor movement. And the other artists created primarily the minimalist arc that you see there, and it is open at the top, which is very significant about the fact that labor is never done.
My process is all about movement, and that explains why on my wall here I have pictures of ballet dancers. I'm very into movement, into dance, and through years of painting trees, I used to do a lot of what I called tree portraits. And it would be an individual tree against the sky. And these trees looked like ballet dancers in the midst of a pose, in the midst of some kind of movement, like they were trying to express something choreographically. So I get a lot of my ideas for design from looking at ballet dancers. So because these are about movement in this way, when I do these paintings, I'm moving a lot. I have maybe 3 brushes in each hand sometimes. Sometimes I'm not even looking at what I'm doing. I load the brushes up, I make decisions about where I want to move. These strokes going this way and that way, this is movement, this is energy. These are like choreographic decisions that I'm making. And sometimes I don't even look at it while I make the move, because if I do, then I screw it up. I want the spontaneity of the way a tree grows.
What I bring from the walls of the quarry into my work is my impressions, my imaginative projection of those impressions, the textures, the idea of the impact of the elements on matter, on stone, and the resultant visual textural feast. You know, it's erosive, it's eruptive. It has a tremendous amount of visual richness.
I feel the Detour project is very important. Everybody knows about the industrial relations and connections between the two cities, whether it's auto-related or not. But nothing exists in isolation. And the culture of a place is very important too. And the culture is created by the collective consciousness of the individuals. It's the creativity, it's how they live their lives.
Detur's model is not unlike that of Sergio Marchione's plan to take Chrysler and Fiat and meld them into one stronger company. So why not take artists of every genre, art, cinema, jewelry making, literature, and create for them a larger platform, sharing studios, ideas, products, so that they can create a pathway toward a stronger future.
And we're delighted because now we have Fiat Chrysler with its world headquarters in Auburn Hills, and Mr. Marchione and Mr. Elkan, the head of the firm. We certainly are open and would be very interested in organizing exhibitions with Turin, or certainly with Italy. And in the past, Chrysler was always very supportive of sponsorships. We are going to be having an exhibition called Make a Joyful Noise, art and music at the Florence Cathedral, that opens at the DIA next February.
I think the role of Project Detour is going to be quite important. We have today a very important tie between Torino and Detroit that's based on industry. Project Detour is based on culture, on the arts, and so the two together will, I believe, make this a stronger identity with Italy and with the United States on the part of people in both countries.
When I heard about this project of some kind of cultural liaison between Detroit and Turin, I thought my dad would be so amazed and surprised and delighted with this.
I think it would be really, really fun and wonderful to have artists from both these ends of the earth come together and exchange knowledge and passion. And I think that really what we're doing in Detur really lends itself well to that combination, because art is such a breaker of barriers.
Detur is a very nice and interesting project because Turin and Detroit have a lot of things in common. And in both cities there is a lot of space for creativity.
Detur offers artists from Turin and Detroit the opportunity to take a global detour to have a larger art market between Detroit and Turin, Michigan and the Piedmont, the US and Italy, revitalizing our society and using culture as the pivotal catalyst to a more prosperous economy.
I wasn't expecting to come back, but now I have a love story with this city, and the only thing that I could say is Come here and join me.